Right now at 10.
It's a chilling attack on our democracy.
Disturbing new details in the shootings of 2 lawmakers and their spouses. New information about texts the suspect sent to his wife and how he escaped to Green Isle. This as lawmakers and the community continue to pray for the victims. And later, a veteran with an emotional message about Speaker Hortman, who trained the service dog, he says, saved his life.
KARE 11 News at 10 starts now.
For the first time today, the man accused of shooting at 2 lawmakers and their spouses faced a federal judge as new charges give chilling new details about what happened before and between the shootings and the massive manhunt that followed. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Julie Nelson. Today, federal prosecutors added 6 new charges for Vance Belter on top of state murder and attempted murder charges, accused of killing Representative Melissa Hortman and her husband Mark and wounding Senator John Hoffman and his wife Yvette. Those new charges include allegations that he stopped at 2 more lawmakers' homes in between. Jennifer Hoff went through all the details today and joins us with more.
As you know, just an incredible amount of information coming out today. The U.S. Attorney for Minnesota calling political assassinations like this rare. But now those new documents show Belter is accused of going to not just 2 lawmakers' homes, but at least 4, and how he was deterred from more mayhem.
Good morning.
At today's news conference, the U.S. Attorney for Minnesota calling the crimes Vance Belter accused of
Truly chilling.
after authorities arrested the 57-year-old last night in a rural cornfield southwest of the cities.
It is no exaggeration to say that his crimes are the stuff of nightmares.
New federal documents detailing his plan to stalk and kill Democratic lawmakers, 45 of whom were named in notebooks officers recovered from Belter's SUV. That also show guns, ammunition, and a medical kit. Plus the silicone mask the documents say Belter discarded after wearing it when he first showed up at Senator John Hoffman's Champlin house Saturday morning, shouting, "This is the police," then shooting the senator and his wife 17 times after they opened the door, realizing he wasn't an officer. The 2 in the hospital are expected to survive. Then pictures show Belter stopping at another lawmaker's house in Maple Grove who wasn't home, going next to New Hope, where he was spooked by a cop doing a proactive welfare check before heading to former Speaker Melissa Hortman's Brooklyn Park house. Law enforcement, aware of that first shooting, arrived to see Belter there, firing shots and going inside. Officers following, forcing Belter to run away, discovering Hortman and her husband dead.
He essentially took his vehicle away from him, which involved all his maps, all his names, all his weaponry. I would be very scared what it would look like over the next few hours had we not done that.
Police eventually tracking down Belter's wife, pulling her over with her children, finding $10,000 in cash, guns, and passports in the car, releasing the text he sent her, writing first, "Dad went to war last night," followed by, "Words are not going to explain how sorry I am for this situation."
And the U.S. Attorney would not comment on the whereabouts of Belter's wife tonight. We do know she was let go, though, after that traffic stop. And again, just more information coming out in this case. We also learned that Belter bought an e-bike. Then he bought a Buick for a couple grand from a complete stranger, Julie. That's how he used then to go 45 miles from here to his home closer in Green Isle.
Yeah, I mean, it's just jaw-dropping, every detail that comes out. It is interesting to have that second text added that he exchanged with his wife, though, basically saying, "I'm so sorry," for his actions, which appears to be the same kind of sentiment he had with the man who says he was his roommate in North Minneapolis. Still, I mean, even in all of those new details revealed today, still a lot of questions remain, and I know we'll continue following it.
Well, and to that point, we also know in the Buick that there was a letter written by a person who claimed to be Belter, saying that he was the one that committed these crimes.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of answers, but also still many questions.
Yeah. Thank you, Jennifer. Well, today, the woman who spotted Belter in a meadow less than 2 miles from his home is now speaking out. Wendy Thomas says she went to her neighbor's house to get an address book. She says as she was pulling out, she saw Belter, who then crouched down in a field. And you can see the path where he eventually crawled to surrender to law enforcement in this video.
He was walking in this grass, and Once I realized that there was no other people here and there was no other vehicles, I started freaking out. Never would I have thought he was here.
Thomas says she initially thought he may have been part of the tactical team, but realized that because he was alone, it must be the suspect. In the last 2 hours, the Hortmans' grown children, Sophie and Colin, released a statement. It reads in part, "We are devastated and heartbroken at the loss of our parents. They were bright lights at the center of our lives, and we cannot believe they are gone. Our family would like to thank law enforcement for their swift action that saved others and for the coordination across communities that led to the arrest of the man that murdered our parents." They go on to say, "Our parents lived their lives with immense dedication to their fellow humans. The best way to honor our parents' memory is to do something, whether big or small, to make our community just a little better for someone else." If you'd like to read the full statement, we have it at KARE11.com. Well, people across the area are coming together to remember Melissa and Mark Hortman. In the last 2 hours, a vigil coming to a close in Brooklyn Park, where people gathered to pray for the Hortmans, the Hoffmans, and their families. Here's Victor Hagapo.
For some of the people I spoke with here at Grace Fellowship Church in Brooklyn Park, Melissa and Mark Hortman were close neighbors and friends, and their deaths have left them in disbelief. Tonight's prayer vigil, a somber gathering for people to heal together and remember the Hortmans and pray for the healing of John and Yvette Hoffman. Church leaders told me many people feel isolated following this weekend's tragedy, and they hope this vigil brings comfort and hope. While the Hortmans nor the Hoffmans were members of Grace Fellowship, many of those who do attend this church were close with them. I spoke with Sheila and Kirk Enzenauer. They say they live about a quarter of a mile away from the Hortmans and knew the couple for many years. They told me they could hear the gunshots and police activity from their home when the shooting happened, and they shared why they felt it was important to come here tonight.
It's just part of the healing, and just everybody else is feeling what you're feeling, and so when you're around that, it does help. It helps to process, but again, it's surreal. It's absolutely surreal. How could this happen?
We want people to know that we're standing together, that they're not alone, they're seen, they're heard. We want to make sure that they're aware that we're here for them and that we want to join arms together to help heal and serve our cities.
The event also offered prayers for first responders, city leaders, and community members. Now, for some of the folks I spoke with today, they say this is just the beginning of the healing process. Some say they plan to attend any public funeral events that there may be in the coming days to remember the Hortmans. Reporting from Grace Fellowship Church in Brooklyn Park, Victor Jacobo, KARE 11 News.
Well, at the state capitol, lawmakers are feeling the loss of Speaker Emerita Hortman, regardless of party. Her partner in power in the House, Republican Speaker Lisa Demuth, talked to Danny Spiewak this afternoon.
After last Monday's special session, Representative Melissa Hortman held a press conference outside House chambers to celebrate finishing the budget.
I think that there's a lot for Minnesotans to be pleased about.
Inside, Speaker Lisa Demuth prepared her own remarks for the media before making one last stop to say hello to Hortman.
I was going out to talk to all of you, and I turned back. I said, "We did it." And she said words to the effect of, "I like it so much better when we get along rather than when we fight, but we did it."
It was their last conversation.
The events and the tragedy, my heart is with the Hortman family and colleagues and friends.
In Hortman's final months, Demuth spent countless hours with the House DFL leader, negotiating the state budget under a 67-67 tie in the House.
We had more in common than the things that we disagreed on.
After Hortman directed the DFL to skip the first 3 weeks of the session,
If there's no power sharing agreement, we will not be here.
she reached a deal with Republicans that gave Demuth the title of Speaker, while Hortman led her caucus as Speaker Emerita.
I think it showed humility on her part. Although I am the Speaker, we co-led this chamber.
Needing bipartisan support on all bills to break the tie in the House, the two leaders met weekly, just as they had for the past 2 years, when the DFL had a majority in the House.
She cared about Minnesota, probably more than anyone that I've ever met, and wanted to do what she felt was best for Minnesota.
During budget negotiations, Demuth and Hortman held joint press conferences and used humor to deflect questions about how much they trusted each other.
That is a weird question. Good. We haven't done any trust falls lately. So.
How much do you think
Trust
we
us.
trust each other and trust us?
Hortman kept her colleagues laughing throughout these tough and sometimes uncomfortable budget talks.
Maybe the word I should have used is colonoscopy. So maybe just proctological exam.
Just one of many things Lisa Dameth will remember about her friend.
What do you think you'll miss the most about her?
Her ability to lead people and to do the right thing, her transparency, and not even desire for personal gain, but just to do the right thing.
Speaker Dameth has been in contact with House DFL leadership this week to offer support. She's also in touch with the House Sergeant of Arms to make sure all members feel safe and protected after this weekend's tragedy. You can always find the latest developments from this weekend's shootings on our website, KARE11.com. Now to our other big story of the night tonight, the weather, those severe storms making their way across the state. Take a look at this new video into our That's So Minnesota Facebook page. Madison Lehman telling us this tornado is near Perham in the western part of the state. Closer to the Twin Cities, some really big hail fell this evening. These pictures are coming from John Ziegler and Chris Harapsky in the Southwest Metro. This is all behind us now. We'll check in with Raya Katene in a few minutes down in Waconia. But first, Belle has some stats from tonight's storms. Belle?
I do, Julie, and you know, I have a time lapse, and I will say I apologize for the camera bouncing around, but it's worth watching because you just see how unstable today was. So we'll start before sunrise, and you could already tell with those clouds that it was going to be one of those days, and you woke up with that heat and humidity, and then as the day wore on, we had sunshine, and then we had a round of storms, then we had sunshine, then we had the afternoon storms that really dropped so much rain, and then of course we had the evening round of storms that hit not the entire Twin Cities, but most of the southern portion of the Twin Cities. That afternoon round that came at 3 o'clock that hit most of the metro dropped a couple of inches of rain in a short period of time and really flooded so many roads. So here is the picture from above. You just saw the picture from below, but you can see this is the last 12 hours. So we had the morning rain, that was that afternoon deluge, and then this is the evening thunderstorms that were really quite fierce in many locations. And we had numerous tornado reports up north and then numerous reports of hail to the south. We'll look at all of those in just a few moments, but I want to show you that right now things are quiet. So good news. And our impact alert has expired, and here's your forecast for the morning. We expect tomorrow to be one of those rare dry days. We haven't had too many of those, and it will also be warm. We'll talk about the week ahead in just a few minutes, Julie.
All right, thank you, Belle. Raya Katene has been out checking the storms around the metro, and she joins us now from Waconia. Hi, Raya.
Hey, Julie, it's actually pretty remarkable that people here in Waconia are not reporting any sort of major damage from tonight's storm, considering how impressive and large that hail that came down here was. I spoke to more than a dozen people since we got here a couple of hours ago. All of them tell me they have not seen any sort of damage. I also checked in with the Carver County Dispatch, who also tells me no damage has been reported. But here's what folks did see. Take a look at your screen and check out some of the pictures and the videos that we've gotten in from people here around the area. This is some large, sometimes even golf ball sized hail pounding down. Some of it was measured at a couple of inches or so, and it was quite loud based on one of the videos that a neighbor shared with me. Now, other neighbors I've spoken to tell me the south side of town here in Waconia seems to have gotten hit a little bit harder than other areas, but driving around, we really didn't see any broken trees or branches or any sort of property that was damaged. So pretty lucky is how neighbors are kind of describing this situation to me. Of course, things could have been much worse, but thankfully they didn't go that way, Julie.
All right, thanks so much, Raya. Still ahead on KARE 11 News at 10, the Hortman family's gift to a struggling veteran who says the former House Speaker's passion for animals helped save his life. And as we had to break, a look at the still growing memorial just outside the House chamber for Representative Hortman. We'll be right back. This afternoon, Governor Tim Walz and First Lady Gwen Walz paid their respects to Representative Hortman and her husband Mark at a growing memorial at the Capitol. The pair left a bouquet of flowers at a table just outside House chambers. In an interview with NPR today, the governor called Hortman his closest ally and said her bipartisanship should be a model for the entire country. Tonight, so many people remembering Representative Hortman and her family for their work in the community. And that includes a veteran whose beloved service dog, Minnie, was trained by Hortman and her family. Adriana de Alba has their story tonight.
All right, Corey.
To understand who the Hortmans were,
Yep. In.
you only need to see the gift they gave a struggling veteran.
I was really at a bad place.
As Eric Elsner fought through the darkest parts of PTSD,
Got a call and they said, we think we have a match for you.
that match was Minnie, a service dog who gave him new life.
She got me going again.
But before Minnie stood by his side,
Good girl.
she spent the first 2.5 years of her life in the care of Minnesota State Representative Melissa Hortman, her husband, and their daughter. Together, they trained this dog to heal.
It just makes me think of how special their family was, you know.
That's why the news that Melissa Hortman and her husband were shot and killed
It doesn't make sense.
hits so unthinkably hard.
I'm so sad, you know. Everybody is.
The Hortmans spent countless hours volunteering with Helping Paws, a nonprofit, now reflecting not on Hortman's politics, but on the quiet legacy she built behind closed doors.
She would walk into the building. We were in Hopkins at the time, and that public persona just went away, and she was totally focused on training Gilbert.
Gilbert, the golden retriever she poured her heart into. He was deemed too friendly to serve as a working dog, so the Hortmans kept him. Gilbert was also killed in the shooting.
He was with his people to the very end.
People who gave Eric his loyal companion
I don't know how you can match any better, honestly.
and a second chance at life.
I will. I'll always think of them.
In Minneapolis, I'm Adriana de Alba.
Tonight, volunteers at Helping Paws held a private memorial coming together to share their memories of the Hortman family. Oof, it's been a tough few days in Minnesota, but some beautiful moments and people to be remembered for sure. And then today was quite an active day.
It really was busy, and the good news is we don't have another busy day this week, and we have summer arriving on Friday, and it's almost like Mother Nature knows because this weekend it's going to be in the 90s. How about that?
Summer's here,
Let's
finally.
do
State Senator Nicole Mitchell's burglary trial is now set for next month. It was supposed to start today, but a Becker County judge granted her request to delay the trial after this weekend's shootings. Mitchell is charged with breaking into her stepmother's home in April of last year. Her trial will now begin July 14th. Well, in just the last few hours, a jury has found MyPillow CEO Mike Lindell liable of defaming a former executive of a voting equipment company. Lindell was sued for accusing Dominion Voting Systems and Eric Coomer of stealing the 2020 election. The jury awarded Coomer more than $440,000 in damages from Lindell and more than $1.8 million from Lindell's media company, Frank Speech. Award-winning pizza restaurant Young Joni is set to close after nearly a decade in Northeast Minneapolis, according to the Star Tribune. They cited a statement from the restaurant's parent company. This comes a week after the building's owner sued the restaurant for more than $143,000 in unpaid rent after not renewing their lease when it expired last year. The restaurant is set to close September 14th. We'll be right back. All right, thanks so much, Will. We wanted to leave you tonight. So many of you have sent us beautiful images of the gorgeous sunset that happened tonight. Felt like a good way to end the newscast today. Thanks for sharing your pictures with us, and thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.